This video is number 25 on trending, and it's of the top G himself, Andrew Tate, talking with XQC and Adin Ross, and this is on Adin's actual channel, so this isn't a repost of someone else. And basically, this is interesting for a variety of reasons, which I will enumerate as we go through, but I've watched a little bit of it so far, as you can see, and so far what I'm noticing is just the lack of awareness from the part of the younger people here, XQC and Adin Ross, but more so XQC. We know that XQC is definitely like somewhat woke and not very, he's not very like red pill to the truth, definitely very liberal, etc. Doesn't really think through ideas, thinks he has ideas, but in fact is just sort of adhering to a hive mind. I've watched part of this video, as you can see, and the biggest takeaway I've had so far, what I've noticed is we as a culture have intellectually degraded to such an extent that it's difficult for a lot of people, I won't say most, but I'll say for a lot of people, to distinguish between actual thought and incoherent babble. And as such, people can be confused and mistake incoherent babble for a robust set of ideas that could constitute an actual debate. So basically, it's a shame that it couldn't be a debate. It's a shame it couldn't be. It's a shame Andrew Tate couldn't actually be challenged, because then we might actually get further. But it's somewhat embarrassing every single time this happens. Every single time I see a video like this where one person thinks that they're like putting forward a set of ideas that are actually useful and thought through, and in reality they are just essentially just adhering to a hive mind, adhering to groupthink, and so that's disappointing, but it's still noteworthy. The fact that that's disappointing doesn't make it not noteworthy. So, yeah, we're gonna notice that here. And I'm eating right now, by the way.
I didn't get it either,
the
chat.
stats on the internet or whatever, right? You would bet on a 40% outcome instead of 60%, and you're saying this is a good bet.
Oh, bro, I know, and I mean this with respect. I know, and I mean this with respect. I know the internet is your life, right? I don't use the internet for stats when I get into a car with a bitch. I don't go and go, okay, well, she's blonde. Let me look up the blonde chicks. Can they drive? Da-da. I get in a car and I look at her driving and go, and this bitch can't drive. That's what I do, right? And any man who's honest with himself has been in the car with a chick who's driving on some wild ass, crazy, texting on her phone, risking everyone's life. Every man knows I'm telling the truth.
Okay.
I know you can't say it. But you don't want to get canceled, blah, blah, blah. You just sit here and say, when you get in a car with a girl, you look up an internet study first. Shut up. What are you talking about?
Bro, what are you talking about? A bad driver on the road that you can see is a bad driver. I don't give a fuck if they're old, if they're missing both fucking hands, if they're a guy, if they're white, if they're black.
You can see the internal rage bubbling up, because it doesn't make sense to scream or yell, but XQC, because he's screaming and yelling, is basically betraying his position, because in reality there's no reason to yell points that or not even points, yell statements that are not even related to the conversation in any meaningful way. So a way we can measure this is if what he's saying is true, or rather if what he's saying is relevant. It doesn't demonstrate anything, and so but he's yelling it, and that's because he's unable to tell the difference between incoherent babble and ideas that would actually constitute a debate. So because he has nothing else to say, he's talking louder. And this is one of those small moments I was describing before, where we can notice that it's just like basically embarrassing, and these people should be held accountable more so than they are. He's just raising his voice, saying things that don't matter. Like literally just raising his voice and saying things that don't matter. That's intimidating humor if they're missing both hands, but he's saying it as if it's some sort of valid point. Like it doesn't prove anything. He's not actually responding to the crux of what Andrew is saying. So yeah.
If they're a guy, if they're white, if they're black, I don't give a fuck. They can't fucking drive. They can't.
He thinks because Andrew's yelling that if he yells too, people will think that he's on Andrew's level, but actually it's just embarrassing if you listen to what he's saying, because what he's saying is so incoherent, and he's so unlike Andrew in every perceivable way that it's actually just embarrassing.
Fucking drive. I don't say, oh, I'm gonna go to the study, or I'm gonna do this with Andrew Tate. They can't fucking drive. Let me break a little bit and fucking change lane, yo.
That's more so embarrassing too, because like
I'm gonna interject real quick into this one-on-one here, okay?
who's winning?
example I gave about real life or like the real world versus the internet.
See, that there made me like want to bring up this point, because if you're listening, that's not even a question of who's winning, because it's not even a contest. They're not even competing. Andrew Tate is existing in immense confidence, and XQC is essentially disintegrating in front of our eyes. So the thing is because Adin talked to Andrew before this, Adin already knows that Andrew is basically more competent and more intelligent and more competent in every possible measurable way. And he's trying to like get his chat to interact, but the very fact that he has to ask that means that he knows that his chat is somewhat oblivious. So that's why I'm bringing up this point.
World. On the internet world, everyone's very, 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 they're very exact, right? So when Andrew says women are bad drivers, the internet assumes that he's saying all women are bad drivers, women are terrible, women are fucking less than, right? So it just depends here.
You're trying to explain it.
Are you talking like the real world talking, where we understand what you're saying? Like when a rapper says all these girls are hoes, right? We know he's not saying all women are hoes. We know what he's talking about. When you go to the party, that one chick that's sleeping with all the
good low IQ example for XQC to understand.
dudes is a hoe, right? We get that comparison, but we know he's not saying that. So the real question here is, are you talking with the context of the real world only, where you're kind of just making that you're making that generalization, but you don't actually mean the generalization? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or are you actually a sexist? That's what the question is.
That's a very good question, and it's very professionally asked. So I like the way you've asked it. It's very professional.
Thank you.
No, you're completely and utterly correct. The way the rapper says all women are hoes is an absolutely perfect analogy. I'm not saying there's not a female on the planet who can't drive a car. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in general, if every man was honest with himself, if you were to ask him, what's the worst driving you've ever seen? What's the most uncomfortable you've ever been in a car? What's the worst parking you've ever seen? What if you were to ask him and he was honest and he wasn't on the internet worried about getting canceled or trying to be correct or looking up statistics or any dumb shit, he'd probably say, I was in the car with this chick once and she nearly killed me. That is not saying women are bad creatures. I'm not saying all women drive that way. It doesn't mean that I don't think females should have a right to drive, etc. I'm saying in general, I think that men have faster reaction times. We are more interested in cars. We enjoy driving more. We pay more attention than women do. That is my experience.
Okay, you know, trying. I'm gonna go against you. I'm gonna say, you know whose fault that is? That is your fucking fault. I know why? Because you are a bad communicator. If you can't communicate your thought properly, so people understand it for what it is,
now I
then
can't.
you are lacking skill in communication to make your point what it actually is. That is your problem.
Real quick.
That's your problem.
It's so embarrassing. Why is he like screeching? Just like yelling. Yelling is not an argument, by the way.
Real quick. I want to respond to that. Then take and go in. Okay. Point is, right now Tate is in his, it's the inception of it, right, on the internet from the real world. So
then tell him how he is. Then tell him how it is. Say Tate. I think you are a bad communicator of your takes, and you are bad at dialogue. Say it like it's
not a bad communicator.
Tell him.
The reason that he's talking to Adin Ross is because he's literally a good communicator.
Tell him then.
It's not a bad communicator. What it is it's an unawareness of the internet type of person. You understand? When you're never on the internet, you don't know. Like, I didn't know people like this existed. You understand? I didn't know they existed. So you can't fathom to even have the possible world to explain something in a way.
Okay.
Well, maybe he is aware, but he just doesn't give a fuck.
Okay.
Maybe that's the case.
Try. If you make a statement and you say women can't drive, okay, it doesn't matter what your audience is, right? It is a blanket statement.
Have you seen Nick Pullum's poll? Nick Pullum's poll on Funniest Streamer. Do you know why that is? Because when I'm in person, I make jokes like that. I go, must be a woman driver that caused that accident. I make jokes like that. Do I think all women? No, women are better drivers than I am. I'm a shit driver as a man.
These are joking contexts, yeah. But if you make a statement and you're serious,
that's why I'm asking. Is he just making that generalized kind of stereotypical joke, or is he truly a sexist? That's what I'm asking. I asked him. He said no. He said he's not a sexist. He's making that generalized joke statement.
Okay. Then when you don't have a dialogue with somebody and he gets a monologue and you're alone and you go on camera and you say, women can't drive, without no precision, without no saying, exception is exception, without going down the list of why it's a joke or whatever the fuck, you think it's a good thing? Right. You think you're being a good communicator? Go on and say, women.
Let me explain something. to all intelligent people who are even moderately invested in the vetting of the ideas that you hear, like the ideas that Andrew Tate expresses, you understand that that's a part of the analysis. You can only miss that because it's so obvious. You can only miss the fact that he is like not communicating like Mark Zuckerberg. Like Mark Zuckerberg will communicate like ultra literally to the exclusion of everything else, including humor, including everything else, emotionality. If you somehow miss the fact that Andrew Tate is communicating in a way that accounts for humor, in a way that engages with people, in a way that gets people hooked and gets people to listen, gets people to acknowledge his charisma, if you can't tell that extremely clearly, just super obviously and like right away, if you listen to what he's saying, it means that you're not listening to what he's saying. And that means that your goal was never to listen to what he has to say. So what we understand here, what we see literally represented in front of us, is that XQC's goal was never to understand what Andrew Tate has to say. It's to demonize him in, well, what he thinks are subtle ways. They're not so subtle. But that's what he wants to do, is not contend actually with what he has to say, or to make the analysis honest. So part of dealing with what someone has to say forthrightly is giving them the benefit of the doubt and dealing with what they are actually communicating, not some sort of super resolution thing. Like the example that they're talking about right now is a perfect example. If Andrew Tate says, I'm the greatest ever, then he's not saying that he is the greatest human. Like okay, we could take the somewhat like autistic approach and be like, okay, is that literally a correct statement? Like, is he quite literally the best ever? Like, what are all the different qualifying factors for being the best ever? Or do we understand that he's saying that he thinks very highly of himself, he has high self-esteem, and he's proud of what he's accomplished, and what he's accomplished is quite impressive. Like, okay, so the fact that Andrew Tate is basically talking past XQC is XQC's fault. It's not Andrew Tate's fault, because XQC is not approaching this forthrightly, not being intellectually honest, and it's very, very obvious once we delve into his obstinance, because it's clear. If someone is being obstinate, then you must ask yourself why, and why? It is because he is adhering to an ideology of political correctness, of wokeness, of all the people. You got to understand, there's an immense social cost to people that are heavily invested in the left-wing hive mind of equity, diversity, political correctness, all of that. It's all a big soup, and it goes together. And the further you sink down into the soup, into the bowl of soup that is all those things, the harder it is to emerge. I know this firsthand because it was really hard for me to emerge coming from a extremely left-wing high school where I was indoctrinated, and and everyone was, and if you weren't, then there was tremendous social cost. Like, there would be tremendous social cost for XQC. He would lose friends, he would lose sponsorships, people would hate him. His social standing in his mind would take a massive hit, and so I think that's also why he is purposely being obstinate and obtuse and dishonest, and it's just repulsive to any type of it's repulsive to a mind that's approaching this with a modicum of intellectual honesty. So let's continue, and you will just see more and more examples of this.
End
wrong. No, here's the part.
Does he owe that?
Wait. I gotta
respond.
respond.
Hold up.
He's talking to me.
Very
I
boring.
have a responsibility. Just trust me here. I apologize for interrupting you, but just hear me out here, okay? X. Yeah, I believe. Listen, I don't think he has the experience on the internet yet to understand why he is in the wrong. I think there's a dramatization, right? I think he is
He's trying to explain humor now at this point.
intelligent and is aware of what he's doing. It's a drama, and I think it's wrong.
Hey,
That's obvious to everyone.
For that I agree with you, eh?
Okay. Then if you're ready to prove your own point, then right about the severity of it, how about make a same statement for the same topic, another one about black people? Go ahead, do it now. Do it.
But why would we do that?
I made that point earlier. About the consistency argument.
I'm just saying. I'm saying if it's not bad, because it's a joke because
I didn't say it's not bad.
It's a woman joke.
I said the dramatization of the too far jokes is for the dramatization to get people in. And I said that part is wrong.
See,
and
he's trying to challenge Train to basically using the leverage of the hive mind right now. That's why he said that. Also, it's completely unrelated. That's how I could tell that that's why he was doing it.
And I do have a consistency. You ask Nick Polam, in front of him, I make those jokes. I make all kinds of jokes about everything and everyone. Believe that. You ask Nick Polam, he'll go live right now and say, I do. I do.
X, why don't you ask Tate if you would say that about a race or something like that? A generalization like that
Facts,
about a
Rage.
joke
Take
about a
over,
race
Rage.
or ethnicity or
Rage is
something.
being an alpha right now.
Hey, listen.
Dan Pinion does that, and it's pretty entertaining and funny, and like people can tell that it's a joke. He like that's probably the most outlandish example on the internet of someone that will just be offensive offensive in every category possible, and people like allow it because they understand that it's well, that and stand-up comedy. There are definitely clips of stand-up comedy on YouTube that are like really far out there. Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais, etc. But Dave Chappelle.
Can I ask him right now?
Let's understand my ethnicity.
question.
Let him
So
talk.
I'm half black, half white, right? That's my ethnicity.
Wait,
so we
he
understand
is?
my ethnicity.
I
I made a joke an hour ago with one of my cousins, because half my family's black, half my cousin is white, and he said he wanted to go free diving. It's where you dive down in the water and you go deep with no scuba equipment with the sharks or some shit. And I said, bro, that's what white people do. That shit. I'm too brown for that. I'm not going with the sharks. I just made a joke. There. Oh no! Cancel me. Who gives a fuck? When I make a statement, bro. Listen. When I make a statement, maybe you do. Maybe you have all the fucking time in the world to sit on the internet, my friend. But when I make a statement, I don't have time to say, in my personal experience, I don't believe women can drive. However, I understand that some women can drive, and I'm not saying all women can't drive. And I know women who can drive, but in my personal experience, the bad driving I've seen was most likely committed by women. That I don't talk like a fucking geek. I say women can't drive. Now, if that upsets geeks like you, cool, whatever. Because geeks, I don't give a fuck. That's what I say. If it upsets people tough, that's my personal experience. You're gonna have to get the fuck over it. That's life. If you want to say I'm a bad communicator, once again, that's your prerogative. But I would disagree. I think I'm a very good at communicating. That's the only reason I'm even fucking here.
Dude, I said that, and bro, dude. See, like, my mind's quick. I pick on these things really fast.
I'm even on the internet. It's because when I talk, people listen. So I must be doing something right.
I mean, it's easy to dog whistle to fucking misogynist. That's really easy. It's one of the easiest things out there. Preaching to the choir, that's so easy to get in following doing that.
What choir? The choir is far left. So the very fact that he's here is a demonstration that it is not preaching to the choir, or it would not even be interesting.
You hate women on these points and these points. It's gonna be easy to stack them up like fucking easy. Holy shit! I built a fucking world of a community based on being toxic. It's the easiest thing in the world. Way easier than being good and being nice.
I'm a very good, nice person.
Surely.
By saying that, I think that men are more capable of driving than women. It does not make me a bad person or a not nice person. It means that if I car and it's snowing and it's late at night and it's dark, I'm gonna drive. I'm not gonna let some 18-year-old chick drive. I'm gonna fucking drive because I like staying alive. And let me tell you something.
Funny you bring that up because last time you talked about car accidents or whatever, and then you brought stats. You said that, well, it's because the males make doing more accidents because they're young, right? So even if your own example, right, you would actually prefer having a young female driver, not a young male, according to you. That's what you said last time on the fucking podcast. Then it is exactly what you said. I'm using your words against you. You said that, oh yeah, males do more crashes when you're young because they're young and excited, whatever. You just said, I wouldn't let a young girl drive my car. Then you would let.
Okay, old girl.
I'm just saying, be consistent about it.
Listen, let me tell you something, my friend. There's a cognitive dissonance. There's some serious damage that the internet's doing to society. I spoke about it on Adin Ross on his podcast, and I spoke about how the internet as a whole has changed the world. I'm old enough to see it. And one of the ways it's changed the world is when there are certain beliefs, there are certain paradigms which are not allowed to be punctured, certain parameters which are set by the matrix in which you must pretend certain things are true. People ignore their own eyes and their own ears.
It has to do with the materialization of the world. The world used to be more thoroughly integrated with the concepts of value and with the development of the scientific method, with the development of purely objective frameworks. Frameworks we thought were purely objective. We misconstrued reality, and that is why this problem exists. It's not necessarily the internet. The internet amplified that problem. So, and to be more clear, this problem is one where we thought every single answer to any question that could exist is existing in the objective scientific matrix. But of course, that leaves out the entire realm of value, which requires a different mechanism to broach. So I think that's where the problem comes from. It's not exactly the internet. The internet amplified that problem.
Because they are afraid of upsetting the matrix. And my point is that a person like you, and I mean this with respect, I'm not here to argue with you, this is a professional debate. A person like you whose entire income, personality, his importance, his ego, everything relies on a Twitch account. If you lose it, you ain't shit. If you lose it, you ain't shit. And the problem is that you could be in 10 car crashes driven by 10 different women, and you will still not come here and say women can't drive as well as men because you are afraid. You are not
He's literally speaking facts right now.
bias. You are sitting here inside of parameters that you must conform to or you don't exist. I don't give a fuck.
So true. Yo, that's so facts.
That's the difference between you and me. That's why I say things other people don't.
I don't know what it means. The last part. I mean, you talk about the matrix and the systems or whatever the fuck, but the only reason why you're relevant or cool in the real world is because you have money. Talk about the matrix, the fucking currency, and you think you're the top G because of that, and it makes you more important than other people.
4-time world kickboxing champion. What? What? 27 supercars. What?
Who have value to society?
I'm not only the top G because I have money. In fact, I think I talked about this with David Ross as well. I talked about how money is an amplifier. Money alone will not make you significant or important. I talked about how money will amplify. I was the before I was rich. I was the man before I was rich, and then I got rich on top. That's it's amplified me. That's all it's done. It hasn't changed who I am. There's plenty of people with lots of money who ain't shit.
Okay, so because of the vehicle of my message is Twitch, it's devalidated.
It's not that it's devaluated at all, my friend. I think that Twitch is a fantastic. And you're meeting lots and lots of people, and I'm here on Twitch as well myself. My point is that you exist inside of parameters. The people who rely on the system will always fight to defend the system. Exactly. The parameters are set in a way in which you cannot be completely and utterly honest, even if your personal experience tells you so. We don't even have to talk about driving. We can talk about anything. We can talk about the last 3 years where you walked around and didn't see a single sick person, and you had to pretend that you were supposed to be scared inside of your house because the parameters have told you if you say anything else, you lose your entire life. And your life is online. This is the reality. Not most people are not allowed to say what they think.
Okay, this works both ways though. It's not because you have harsher takes and crazier takes that this doesn't apply to you. I feel like you preach to the choir to fucking incels. Literally, that's like your bread and butter.
Wait, isn't that TOS chat?
So by extent, you try not to go against these opinions because you're gonna lose these people. Like it's just how it is.
So that's an interesting point of view, and we'll go into it in a second. But first things first, I want to clarify because as I said, I'm a professional, and this is a professional debate. My takes are not harsh or extreme. Every single man, every single sports club, every single football team, every single group of men sitting around having a drink will make a joke about how women can't drive. Every single fucking one. So to sit here and pretend I have some extreme view is bullshit. It may be extreme on the internet where people are afraid.
Right. I broke the internet just like that.
Fuck. Oh my god, this is getting really good.
I'm talking about Branson.
Monkey dance. What do you mean by the?
What is that? It's not.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by the monkey dance? What do you mean by the monkey dance? What do you mean by that?
Hold on, Top G is back. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yo.
What's up, Top G?
I'm trying to.
Did you just fucking go for a run, bro?
Something's wrong with my internet. I don't know why.
Is there bad Wi-Fi over there?
Said
Brokey internet.
It is.
Can you hear me now, though? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So where were we?
I don't remember. It was fuck. Give me the reiterate.
I don't know where they are. No, it's
And male accidents.
Georgiana.
Is that your maid?
No, it's a masseuse. Georgiana, can you bring my sunglasses, please? I don't know where they are.
Yo.
Right. She like, why is he talking to me like that? He didn't talk to me like that off camera, bro. What the fuck?
So what were we talking about?
Yeah. He definitely
Just being rude or anything.
apologizes to her. And said,
Yo, be real. When the camera goes off, you're probably like, yo, I'm sorry, I was speaking to you that way.
And takes care of her off camera. None of this shit.
I'm gonna give you a good tip today. I'm sorry.
Dude, that internet lag, that's what could set this skit up for sure.
Wait, who that?
Yeah, we're down the right. We're down the right.
Yeah, we gotta. Oh no.
Oh my God, who is that?
Oh no, never mind. You gotta know.
Yo, X, cover your eyes, bro.
Yes.
So what were we arguing about?
Yo,
Look
nah,
at this
this
guy,
nigga-
bro. Look at this guy, bro. This
God.
nigga swear he cool as
Yeah,
shit, bro.
ain't gonna lie, it makes no sense.
This man's a GTA character.
Bro, look at this nigga, bro.
Dude, he's so fucking
Well,
Yo,
it's not organized. I had the massage planned, but Aiden messaged me, so obviously she has to do it while I work. That's how it goes.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know what we're arguing about. I don't know. I think we're going off the deep end. Yeah, but I think you said something about the Matrix.
Actually, it wasn't the deep end, if we recall, where the stream cut off. Andrew Tate was basically pointing out that XQC is plugged into the Matrix and unable to actually analyze the world truthfully because he has so much to lose, because he's so deep in the liberal hive mind suit. He is held down by so many tethers, like in the scene at the Night Museum, where like the night guard is like held down by all those strings going over him. XQC is held down by like a million little strings. Political correctness, equity, the monetization of his Twitch account, what Pokimane will think, what so-and-so will think, what so-and-so will think, the judgment that he'll get at this party, when the judgment that he'll get from his girlfriend. The list goes on and on. Like, you just multiply that times 3 and then times 10 again. But as the analysis increases, but like XQC has so much to lose because he is so heavily embedded into the politically correct space. And I know that I'm not necessarily saying he's politically correct, like he doesn't make offensive jokes. That's not the marker of political correctness. It's basically the adherence to an ideology that prevents you from analyzing things honestly, like the example that Andrew Tate gave, the certain disease that was happening. You know, he can't say what he thinks about that because he'll be banned on Twitter, he'll be banned on Twitch, he'll be demonized. Demonization is really the biggest reason people are afraid to be thoroughly true individuals.